Okay, we have a WarFrame tier list that we're going to be making today. Okay, now, due to popular demand from the chat, we're going to be doing it through the tier list maker. I was just going to do it through the simulacrum, but everyone doesn't seem to want to do that, so, you know, that's what we're going to do. Okay. There is a mag tier, and that should actually be at the very top. I actually didn't even notice that. Whoever made this tier list doesn't like mag, and therefore they have no taste. Okay, so let's start off with Ash. So the thing about Ash is that he is a very, very powerful WarFrame just as is. He has like a lot of, like he's got his abilities, they're all useful, so that's really, really good. And generally speaking, he's still a very powerful WarFrame. So it's easy enough to call him A tier. Now, some people would call him S tier in the chat, as has been demonstrated, but to me, I think he's more of an A tier WarFrame. He's not uber duper super duper powerful, but he's really, really good. So I would say that Ash is A tier. What do you guys reckon? A tier, right? Or I think one of you prefers, I think one of you likes him in S tier, but that's just basically how I see him. Super's saying C tier, but he did say A tier before when we were recording this in the simulacrum, so that's a lie. Alright, let's move on to the next one. And of course, that's Ash Prime. There's Ash Prime in there as well. Ash and Ash Prime, same idea. Just because the WarFrame became Prime doesn't necessarily bump it up a tier. Yeah, they do get some additional stats and all that jazz, but it's not that big a deal in the long run. Oh, I should probably mention that every tier list like this one is complete and utter garbage, so you should not be using this tier list to figure out which WarFrame you should be using. The WarFrame that you should be using should absolutely be the WarFrame that appeals to you. There's no reason whatsoever that you shouldn't be using the WarFrame that you like. If, for example, you like Mag, you should use Mag. If, for example, you like Excalibur, you should use Excalibur. If, for example, you like Ureli, then you should definitely use Ureli. If, for example, you like Mesa, then you should use Mesa. So yeah, 100%. 100%. You should have removed the unprimes. Whatever. Then we'll do it this way. Okay. The next one is going to be Atlas. So Atlas is a WarFrame where the main issue I have with Atlas is that he still has Tectonics, and Tectonics is an ability that I do not see value in. So that definitely brings him away from the S tier. Because for me, a WarFrame can only be S tier if every single ability has some value in them, right? Tectonics, to me, I don't see any value in it whatsoever. You build a wall. What the hell are you supposed to do with the wall? Are you supposed to use the wall to defend yourself? Are you supposed to roll the wall like a giant rock? But it doesn't exactly do a whole lot of damage when you roll the wall as a giant rock, does it? So I'm not entirely sure what the value is for that rock, for that wall. So, to me, Atlas, he's still A tier. He's still A tier. You can subsume that wall out? Yeah, absolutely. But that's like a universal thing. The thing about Atlas is that he alone has the wall, right? Especially because his subsumability is like, especially because his subsumability is actually, the friggin' eye gaze. I would say somewhere between. I'm hovering between somewhere between A and B, chat. I'm hovering between somewhere A and B, and I'm leaning towards B. His punching is great, but that's it. His rumblers are cool, and his petrify is really, really nice, but I don't think he's strong. I honestly don't think he's enough of he provides enough by himself to be considered an A tier WarFrame. He's a tank, that is true. But yeah, Loki often gives him C. I'm not thinking that lowly of him. You just need to keep the ball rolling. I don't know, man. Death by Cum says yeet bonk bip. Yeet beat bonk bip. I don't even know what that means, but okay, sure, mate. That's how I feel about him. Okay, the next WarFrame is going to be Banshee. Chat, how do you guys feel about Banshee? Because to me, Banshee, first off, she's got 3 really powerful abilities and 1 ability that kinda sucks. I'm struggling to find value in her ultimate ability these days. What is it called? It's Quake. Quake. How did I get here? I don't know. How did you get here? I'm really struggling to find value in her Quake. She's level 5 Liches, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. She has some of the strongest damage buffing abilities in the game. That is true. Sonar, as well as Resonance, I think it's called, which is her Sonar Augment, is really, really good at buffing damage. On top of that, she can strip armor really easily using Sonic Fracture, which is the augment for her first ability, Sonic Pulse. And then also, she could also, force melee finishes using Savage Silence. So that's really, really good. But the reason why I'm not going to put her on S tier is because Quake. What value does Quake bring? What value does Quake bring? You could, of course, subsume Quake you can, of course, remove Quake and replace it with something else. But we're talking about the WarFrame just by themselves. What does Quake do? What can we use Quake to do? I'm not even talking about, like, what can Quake do that nothing else can. I'm just talking about what can Quake do. Fundamental question. I can't find value in it. So, to me, she can only be an A tier WarFrame. She cannot be an S tier WarFrame. Okay, she cannot be an S tier WarFrame in my opinion. Unless DE does something to make Quake, to give Quake some value in Steel Path missions, because it's not. I don't even know if it's necessarily useful crowd control, because it may be useful crowd control in co-op missions, but if you're just by yourself, you can crowd control them all you want, but you can't shoot, so you're crowd controlling yourself as well. You could potentially make that argument, in which case in co-op missions, then I guess Banshee is S tier. Super buffer, super buffer, super buffer, and potentially really good crowd control. Not even then, like, does it exactly work? I don't know. And also the Quake Augment is a bit weird. The Quake Augment is a bit weird. I don't know if you're supposed to use it as, like, just quick crowd control, or if you're supposed to use it as damage. I don't know. I am genuinely struggling to find... I'm genuinely struggling to find value in Quake and the Quake Augment. But if someone in chat or if someone in the comments can provide an argument for why Quake is actually useful, okay, then she becomes S tier. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay, the next one's going to be Baruuk, a Warframe that to this day I still haven't actually used, ever. Chat, how do you guys feel about Baruuk? I have no opinion on him whatsoever because I've never used him. I keep thinking about, maybe I should use Baruuk. And then as soon as I look at him, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go back to Wisp. I'm gonna go back to Wisp. Nah, I'm gonna go back to Mag. Nah, I'm gonna go back to like some other Warframe. So let's just quickly go through his abilities. His first ability. I don't even remember what it's called. He's real strong but high maintenance. Okay, that's interesting. Let's just go through his abilities first, just so we can see if he's even contestable for S tier. Okay? First ability is Elude. Dodge all incoming projectiles, but only while not attacking. Use it again to deactivate his ability. So it's basically invulnerability so long as you're not attacking, which I guess is pretty hilarious. So there's value in that. You're basically staying alive. Lull is you basically sleep sleep enemies, so that's pretty nice. Desolate Hands summon a bevy of orbiting daggers to seek out enemy guns and destroying them with a small explosion, so you can do some damage and you can also disarm them. So that's very useful. And then you have Serene Storm, which is his ultimate ability. It's his exalted sort of punchy, striky ability. That's always nice. So yeah, he's definitely contendable for S tier. If he's real strong, I have no issue saying that he's S tier, despite the fact that I've never used him. What do you guys reckon? Cephalomaru says he's S tier. I think Lonely Dolphin was saying A tier, is that correct? Oh no, a lot of people are saying A+, A at best. Soup's saying A at best. If he's real strong, it sounds like his abilities are all useful, so... somewhere between A and S. I think most of us are saying A. Let's go with A then. A tier for Baruuk from someone who's never used him. I have him. I've leveled him up. I don't think but I still haven't used him. I've maxed out his rank, and that's it. That's the extent of me using him for like MR fodder, and that's about it. I don't know why I haven't used him yet. I guess every time I look at him, I just want to use someone else instead. Okay, Caliban. The newest Warframe. Caliban is an interesting character. But he's definitely not an S tier character, okay? He's definitely not an S tier Warframe. We can shut that shit down right now. And the reason why I don't think he's an S tier Warframe is because in the Steel Path mission, his first ability, what is it called? Razor Gaia? I do not see any value in his first ability whatsoever. I do not see any value in his Razor Gaia whatsoever in Steel Path missions. In lower level missions, yeah, it could be great. But in Steel Path missions, like, it just uses too much energy. But it doesn't do a whole lot. You know? And even when you pair it with his other abilities for some pretty nice synergy on paper, in practice, either I'm using him wrong for Razor Gaia, or like, I just don't like it. I just don't see any value in it whatsoever. So he's definitely not S tier. Now, is he A tier? Let's have a look at his other abilities. You've got an armor strip, which is great. You've got summonables, which is great, and you've got a way to debuff enemies or make them vulnerable, which is also great. So yeah. He's definitely got a lot going for him. Right? He's definitely got a lot going for him, and also I think his second ability is a really good crowd control as well. You've definitely got a lot going for him, and he's a flashy ass character with his freaking beam. But I don't think he's quite yet A tier, chat. I don't think he's quite yet A tier. I do like that his summonables give him shield regeneration. So he's definitely. I don't think he's C tier, guys. Yeah, I don't think he's C tier because he does have. Because he summons guys that are super tanky, and then they can draw aggro, sort of. I think one of the things that I really want D to do with Caliban is to increase the amount of aggro draw that they have. If the Conculists that Caliban summons had by default something like Guardian Derision, like just baked into their kit, in the sense that like when they're running around, enemies will guarantee hit them or attack them first or aim at them first. I think that would be fantastic. There was also an idea that I came across, or either an idea I came across or an idea that I kind of thought up whilst talking about ways to make Caliban great, which is that he should have a wisp function. So you know how wisps motes have 3 different motes? I think Caliban should be able to summon 3 different sentients. You got a Conculist, you got the Conculist, you've got the Battlist, and then you have the big shield dude, which is the I can't remember what it's called. Let me have a look. It's called the not the arrow, or hell, even the Arrowlist. I don't know, but the one I'm thinking of is a Symbolist. So potentially, okay, you know what? No, maybe have him summon a Symbolist, an Arrowlist, and a Battlist. Now let me explain why these 3. The Symbolist is a tank. The Symbolist has a shield. So the Symbolist could be the sentient that could run around and has Guardian Derision actively baked into its kit. Guardian Derision, for those who don't know, is a Warframe mod for your melee weapon. It's a melee weapon mod, and the idea is when you're blocking with your melee weapon, you draw aggro. You just straight up draw all aggro to you. So you could use that mod and like a shield weapon, for example, like Sigma and Octanus, and you could effectively be the tank in the team because you'll be drawing aggro to you. That way, the squishier players out there, the Mags, the Banshees, the Mesa, well, maybe not the Mesas, but the Mags, the Banshees in the back, they could continue to attack while you draw aggro with your shield, right? That's the idea. The Symbolist could be something like that. A melee sentient that actively draws fire from everyone so that you, Caliban, and the other 2 sentients, the Battlist and the Arrowlist, could stay back and just attack. You would basically be an army of one, which would be really cool. It'd be really cool. And anyone who's used Duality Equinox knows this is actually a pretty fun way to play the game, where you have an AI effectively draw aggro and be the tank, and then you're in the back and you're just popping off on everyone. So I think that could be really, really cool. What do you guys think about that idea, chat? What do you guys think about that idea? The arrow list, of course, is a healer, so that could be really nice. Having a healer, summoning a healer could be pretty cool. And then the battle list is a ranged shooter. So as Cephalon, no, not Cephalon. So as Lonely Dolphin suggested, the melee, you know, one of his summons needs range. You give him Putin's head for $1 million USD. What the fuck? Okay. So yeah. Yeah, you give one of his summons range, you give him a battle list. I think he's still B tier. I don't think it's like the highest in the universe. I don't think he's the best. I don't even think he's like Ash tier or Banshee tier. I think he's B tier. I think he's still pretty good, just not super good. And one of his abilities is not particularly useful. So he's kind of stuck there. That's how I feel. Alright, Chroma Prime. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Chroma to this day still has 2 abilities that are not terribly useful in the long run. I like to use those 2 abilities anyway, but not because they provide a whole lot of value, but just because they are visually interesting. I'm of course talking about his first and his 4th ability. I like his 4th ability. I think it's really cool. You get to summon a dragon turret that's floating there and like spitting fire and like kicking ass. I think it's really cool. But aside from potentially credit farming profit taker, there's not a whole lot of use for it. It doesn't exactly do a whole lot of damage for a turret, right? If you run electric Chroma, you're kind of stuffed because electric damage by itself doesn't exactly do a whole lot. Generally speaking, you probably want heat damage because at least that works well against infested. You probably want toxin damage because that works well against corpus. I guess you might want to go cold damage against Grenier. Maybe? Against alloy armor, I think. But aside from that, nah. I don't think so. Yeah, I think, for starters, his Dragon Breath needs scaling of some sort so that it can keep up with Steel Path enemies. I think that would be great. I like that he can change elements on a fly. That's really cool. The problem is, the elements themselves, they're not terribly useful. There is a reason why not a lot of people would build their weapon on single elemental damage. With the exception of toxic damage, only just to get rid of high-level corpus who have a lot of shields, because you just want to bypass all those shields. But even then, I say fuck it, use magnetic damage, right? If there is a way, I think, without Chroma turning into Lavos, if there is Kuvazar, Heat or Toxic, what's better in my eyes? Heat, because I tend to build Viral. So at that point, having Viral Heat would be great. If you get a Toxin Kuvazar, what you end up with is a Viral Kuvazar. So going for Heat at least means you can have a Viral Heat Kuvazar. Unless you have no status chance on your Kuvazar, in which case, fuck it, go Toxin. Yeah. If DE could implement Lavos' system without turning him into a Lavos though. He still won't be Lavos. But if he could have the Lavos system of combining elementals together, I think that'd be really cool. I think that would be a great way to fix Chroma. That and also, you know, damage scaling. I think that'd be really cool to fix Chroma. Because then, viral damage dragon? Fuck yeah. I want in on that. Magnetic damage dragon? Hell yeah, I want that. You know? Radiation damage, or more importantly, radiation proc dragon? Hell yeah. I want that. And that does really well against alloyed armor as well, so that's really good as well. Corrosive Chroma. You know? Like, the combined elementals, with the possible exception of gas, are really, really strong. That is the reason why when you build a weapon, you don't really ever go single elemental damage. You go combined elemental damage, right? I want to see that. So I reckon probably one of the best ways to make Chroma fantastic and fun. He doesn't have to be S tier. He's already still pretty good with his 2 buffing abilities, Vex Armor and his Chroma, what is it called? His second ability, whatever the hell it's called. They're still really, really useful for the most part. Maybe not the Toxin one, but definitely for the most part, it's still really, really useful. It's just that his first and fourth ability, the fact that he's still stuck on the single elemental, I think that really drags him down a bit. What do you guys reckon? What do you guys reckon? Laricus, I would go with 60% heat. That's my personal preference, because like I said, you go with 60% heat, so you have some heat damage on your Kuvazar. You then build viral, so you have some viral damage and also some viral procs on the Kuvazar. That way, you can strip armor with the heat procs, but then you can also yeet. You can also like do a lot of health damage with the viral procs and the viral damage itself. Single elements are actually very underrated, to be honest. Heat is the only one. Heat and Toxin are the ones that have some value. So Vivian, how do you feel? So Vivian, what value does the cold and the electric damage or the electric procs give? Let me say this. I'm gonna say this. Electric procs could be interesting and they could be fun if they had a similar power dynamic as electrocharge damage in Genshin. Electrocharge in Genshin is like gigantic arcs of lightning that spread with everyone, and they spread all over, and they spread multiple times, right? And it, depending on your EM, it could do a pretty decent amount of damage. Okay, cool, awesome. Electric procs, they kind of don't do anything. They're supposed to what's the word? Crowd control enemies? Do they? I don't think I've ever seen electric procs really ever do that. So, and when electric procs crowd control enemies, I've never seen the electric proc itself crowd control enemies. I have seen electric weapons crowd control enemies, but it's almost as if it's like a part of the weapon itself, but maybe I'm wrong. It's supposed to crowd control enemies, but at the same time, like, I don't think I've ever, with the exception of like maybe butchers. Maybe. Like, the best way the only times I've ever seen electric procs stagger enemies is when it's Volt. And at that point, it's literally Volt. You know? so it's a little bit different. They can also headshot. Okay. And do a lot of damage, or just do some damage? Because I don't know. Maybe I need to use electric procs more to see their value. Maybe I'm wrong. If there's someone out there who actively uses electric damage on their weapons and doesn't give a flying fuck about magnetic or corrosive damage, hit me up in the comments. Wisp modes also do that. Yeah, but that's almost as if it's like part of the Wisp mode itself, isn't it? Or I don't know. Bottom line is, Chroma, somewhere in B tier, I think. I think he's gonna have to be in B tier. What do you guys reckon in chat? Chat, what do you guys reckon? Me, Hildryn with electric proc Sonos. Oh, okay. Electric versus Sonos. Okay, interesting. People, wow, Super Gas y'all do not like Chroma at all. Y'all do not like Chroma at all. That's interesting. That is interesting. Looney, you run electric on some things too? Huh. Dice rather is saying B tier. E-Boomer is saying D tier. I wish Chroma was better. I used to love him for Eidolons. Yeah, I get that. Okay, you know what? Let's compromise. C tier. I'm not super duper hell bent on him being B tier. I barely use him myself. But when I do use him, I often do feel sadness knowing that his turret is just there for decoration. At least in my experience in Steel Path missions, it's only ever been there for decoration, and that just saddens me. Gas electric on Exodia Contagion. Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Why not gas cold? Let me remind myself about what Exodia Contagion is. Unleash the unleash a... Oh! Oh! A Kundala! Okay, that's what that is. Okay. Let's move on. Ember! Ember is so close to being an S tier Warframe, chat. Ember is so close to being an S tier Warframe. She has an augment that allows her to produce energy. Her second ability makes her really tanky. Her third ability can both heal and strip armor. Ember is great. There's always a frame that's better than Ember for any mission type in the game though. I don't care. I don't care. The only question that matters is Ember great? If Ember is great, then Ember gets up there. The only reason why I don't put Ember on S tier is because of her first ability. All Ember needs is LOL line of sight fixes with her fucking ultimate. I guess. I haven't really felt that, but okay, sure. The only reason why I don't put Ember on S tier is because of her first ability. I don't see any value in her first ability whatsoever. If anyone can provide me with a reason why you should use her first ability, then she becomes S tier. You could say, Ember's got an ultimate, and it infuses everyone with heat damage. And that is good. But when would you ever use that? Yeah, her first ability can be overpowered with her augment, in the same way that Oberon's first ability can be really overpowered with its augment. I agree. I 100% agree. The only question is, it's heat damage. When would you ever use that specifically? And I don't mean just like willy-nilly. When would you ever really use that? Because I can tell you with Oberon's, you would definitely want to use his first ability augment, the Smite augment, to infuse everyone's weapons with additional radiation damage against Eidolons, because you get to double dip on Eidolon damage. Okay? That's... You just need to give me one example, and I'm in. You know? It's that simple. I don't know about the heat one. Heat is better because of the heat inherit glitch. Okay, E-Boomer, explain. What is the heat inherit glitch? I don't know this glitch. And it's a glitch, which means at some point it's probably gonna get fixed. So you're basically basing her power right now off a bug, which is not really something that I'm comfortable doing. If you can strip armor, it's actually the strongest damage over time, since the damage over time is stronger than your raw damage. Huh. Dystopia, who's Dystopia? Asian Invasion Plays did a video on it too? Oh, okay. Wait. No, sorry, never mind, I'm thinking of something else. Okay. I'll have to check it out at some point then. KSD Haldo does make a good point, potentially. Which is, the heat damage over time is actually the strongest damage over time, since the damage over time is stronger than the raw damage. Okay, so when you've stripped the armor of an enemy, and you chuck... Do you remember the 10k heat proc on that dude? Okay, let's have a quick look here. So if I have a bunch of these crop to heavy gunners at level 170, right? So what's the idea? I bring out Ember Prime, right? Oh shit. Wait, that's it, right? Oh, never mind. I've got the... Sorry, 1 second. Fireball, Fire Blast, Inferno. Okay, cool. Alright, so So what's the big idea? I go Inferno. Oh, sorry, I do this. So now I need to build up that meter. Awesome, 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 awesome. Bane faction mods. Oh, is this? So you're actually talking more about the augment. So we're actually talking about the augment now. We're not talking about the ability itself. Because I was about to say, like, the ability itself doesn't seem terribly... It's not the augment, it's about heat. Okay. But... So... Right, but that's heat procs. I'm talking about Ember's first ability. I'm talking about Fireball. I'm talking about Fireball. What is the value of using Fireball? Or is the value to use Fireball's augment, which is the heat infusion? What's the value in using her first ability? That's the question I'm trying to figure out. The Fireball augment does give heat bonus. That's correct. That's correct. Because I really don't feel... Because I feel like the Fireball itself... Not that strong. Hell, I'm about to strip everyone's armor, and then I chuck a Fireball and look at it do nothing. You know? So that's my first argument. Right there. Look at it do nothing against these unarmored enemies. Okay, except for that one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Yeah, normally we should rate frames based on their natural capabilities, not on glitches and bugs and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's just a feels weird moment right there. So, are you saying that, like, the Fireball augment is actually really, really good for any war... for like, providing a lot of procs? So you would effectively need to use... So it's only good for its augment. Okay. Okay. S tier it is. You've convinced me. S tier it is. Chick's a tank. Chick can strip armor. Chick can make... Ember is a tank. Ember can be really tanky. Ember can strip armor. Ember can make energy. That's already S tier material right there. You put her in C. I don't know, man. See, that's why I'm still feeling like she's maybe A tier. Because you've convinced me she could be S tier. But I think in my general experience, she's always ever been A tier. Because you're always better off with some other frame. Okay, cool. But what if you want to use Ember? Doesn't matter if there's another... Doesn't matter if there's, like, other warframes that are better than her in some other fashion. If they want to use Ember, then they want to use Ember. And so the question is, how well is Ember? And in my opinion, Ember is A tier. Just because there are better warframes than Ember doesn't bring her down from A tier. She's A tier. Which frames are objectively better though? No, it's not. It's just to list where warframes are. I'm not like when I put them like this. I'm not even talking about like who's better than who. I'm only talking about who's good and what. That's it. I think your definition of a tier list is a lot different to mine, buddy. Okay, let's move on. Equinox. I'll be right back. You're literally, yeah, you're talking about a warframe ranking. I'm not talking about a warframe ranking. I'm talking about a warframe tier list. Okay. Equinox. So, here's the fun thing about Equinox. She is, like, borderline S tier, I reckon. She's a warframe that does a lot of stuff. Put enemies to sleep, give them debuffs, give team buffs, give team survival buffs, heal, give shields, and do damage. 8 things. The only thing she's missing, literally, is energy. The only thing she's missing is just giving everyone energy. That's it. I think Equinox is S tier. What do you guys reckon? What do you guys reckon? I think Equinox is such a fun warframe because like you get to like because like you just need to keep in mind that you have like 25 different mechanisms going on at the same time with Equinox. But aside from that, I think she's like a fun ass warframe. She does so much for everything, and like I personally got rid of her second ability for dispensary, so I could just keep the energy up. But even then, like Army of One Equinox is possibly like some of the most fun warframe that exists. I think. Army of One Equinox, Duality Equinox is some of the most fun warframe experiences I think in the game. Like just on using a warframe basis, I think Equinox is both the most fun, one of the most fun, and also one of the stronger warframes. So that, I think S tier, easy S tier to me, easy S tier. In fact, I actually use her regularly from time to time. So yeah, she's getting close to mag tier. She's really getting close to mag tier, 100%. Okay. Umbra. Do we include S Steel Path durability in this? I only ever think about S Steel Path. I normally maximize on 1 and 2 abilities. Okay, have a look at my Army of One Equinox, where because I got rid of her second ability in favor of dispensary, that's less things to worry about, and so the build works really well. In my opinion, anyway, in my experience, the build still works really well in making sure that all of her abilities are really, really useful throughout the game, throughout the match, throughout the mission, all of her abilities, and I'm constantly switching between night and day for duality purposes, but also so that I can actually use the bonuses that I'm getting from her third and fourth ability, whether it be day or night. Does that make sense? Have a look at my Army of One build and see how you go with that. You might have a different experience to me, but in my experience with Equinox, I think she's fantastic. Okay, Excalibur / Umbra. Chat! He's definitely not S tier because I still think Railroad Javelin is completely and utterly useless in Steel Path missions. It doesn't do anything. I have no idea what value I have no idea what value Radio Javelin is supposed to provide, so there goes his S tier ranking right there. Slash Dash is cool. His Radial Blind is nice, and his Exalted Blade is pretty nice too, especially with Chromatic Blade. That's actually pretty fun. So he could be A tier. He could be S tier. Oh, sorry, B tier rather. Javelin has a multiplicative buff in an augment. Does it? Furious Javelin, hey? Okay, what does it say? Furious Javelin. Each enemy hit will increase Excalibur's melee damage by 10% for 16 seconds. Okay. That could be a good way to, That could be a good way to buff his... You could potentially then use Radial Javelin to buff his, Exalted Blade. Yeah? Does that work with Exalted Blade? A rippling aura will appear under Excalibur when the melee buff is applied. I've never used this before. It's basically like an eclipse, so it's basically more damage. Oh, so it stacks on top of... Wait, hold on. So how does this work? So 1 plus damage mods plus... Hang on, times 1 plus damage mods times 1 plus javelin bonus. Okay. So, at 15 enemies a hit, we will still cap at the multiplier of 12. It caps at 12! Well, that's just sad. So, 10%. Wait, what's this 10%? Oh, right, it increases your melee damage by 10%. Okay, cool. So... So the Furious Javelin bonus... 0.05. Okay, so basically, with a pressure point, you're doing 120% melee damage, right? So with a pressure point, you go from 100 damage to 220 damage. And then with an Intensify and a Furious Javelin bonus, you go from 220 damage to 291.5 damage. if you hit 5 enemies. So it's effectively just with... Yeah, it does scale with strength. Yeah, absolutely. But the main thing is that the main thing is that the calculation is that it's basically adding onto your pressure point. Right? Because you hit 5 enemies with an intensify, so that's 1.3 times 50%. Right? Because you increase your melee damage by 50%, so you go from 1.3 times 50%, which is plus another 65%. So, wait, so 100 damage, then that goes up to 220 damage, plus another 65% damage, I would think. So that would bring you up to 200 somewhere like 280 something. So there's a number in here that I'm not understanding. Okay, cool. It multiplies pressure point. Oh, is that the reason why? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So that's how the math works. So what that means is when you have a full build, you would do... Oh, is that how that works? Because if I do calculator, what did I say? 220. So 1.65 times 2.2 is... No, that's not correct. With a pressure point, you go from 100 damage to 120 to 220 damage. So you go to... So that's a 2.2 multiplier on the amount of damage that you have. Because that's what pressure point is. An intensify is a 1.3 multiplier on your Furious Javelin bonus. You hit 5 enemies, so that's 50% extra damage. So that's 1.65. Wait, 1.3 times... That's not right, 50. 65. Yeah, so 1 point... So... Okay. Anyway, let's not bog down this tier list too. Let's not bog down this tier list too hard. Okay, then he can be A tier. His augment could potentially be useful for buffing radial. His augment can be potentially very useful for buffing sword damage, exalted blade damage. His first and second abilities are still quite useful. Well, maybe not his first ability. It's a bit weird. I don't know. I guess with Radial Javelin you could still buff your first ability, but even then, I don't know. I don't use them. Okay, chat, I honestly don't use them. Probably still leave him on B tier. Let's leave him at that. Alright, the next WarFrame is going to be Frost. Now, chat, who has actually used the new Blizzard Strayer augment for Frost? Who's used the Blizzard Strayer augment for Frost, ladies and gentlemen? Who's actually used that augment? I want to know. Has anyone actually tried that yet? I haven't. I barely play Frost. In fact, I don't even use him ever, so I have no real opinion on Frost. But the new augment for her, which is basically the Blizzard Strayer set from Genshin, except better, seems pretty good, eh? The idea that you get to do, what is that, 200% additional crit damage? That's just adding on top of the crit damage that you already have, right? It's pretty nice, but I think he is a bit slot starved. Yeah. Let me have a look at what the augment quickly does on the wiki. Because I honestly don't know. I've never used it. I'm not spending standing for a damn Frost augment. Biting Frost is the augment that I'm talking about, of course. It is the new augment for Frost, and the idea is that if you are hitting frozen enemies, you gain 200% critical chance and 200% critical damage. So there we go. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I still think he's at most B tier, but I'm leaning towards C tier. I don't know about him, mate. Like, what can he do? He can make enemies, he can freeze enemies, He can make a snow globe, which was useful in 2015. These days, not so much. And he can freeze enemies. He can strip armor with his first ability, but you need a lot of power strength in order to do that. He can strip armor. It's just not that terribly useful. Or rather, it's just annoying to have to run, what is it, 200 something % power strength frost in order to make that happen. Full strip and has some jank one-shot any level thingy. What's the one-shot thing that you're talking about? Because depending on who you are, just having a one-shot could be considered like enough for an S tier on a frost. 250 something %. It wouldn't be 253, but 250%, I think. I think it strips 40% on base, right? 40%. 40% armor reduction base. So in order to get maximum armor reduction, you need 250% power strength. I don't know about this one-shot janky thing, but yeah. Snow Globe can one-shot any level if the enemies can collide with a wall once they get pushed. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like playing Jean in Genshin and saying that she's triple S tier because she can kill anything in one shot if you fling anyone into the sea because they can't swim, which one-shots them because they can't swim, they drown. It's that kind of a thing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Guys, C tier. I'm sorry, guys. If there are Frost mains out there, maybe you can make an argument for him being somewhere between B tier, maybe. I don't think I can bring him any higher than C tier. I don't see any. I really don't see a whole lot of value in him myself. But if you like using him, use him. You know, if you like using him, use him. And the Orkman is nice. Definitely good for people who actually like to use Frost in the first place. But not really something that would make me want to use Frost ever. Because I don't really want to use Frost in the first place, you know? Alright, next one is going to be Gara. A Warframe who has an augment that can make energy orbs really easily, provided you can kill everything inside the Spectra Siphon. A Warframe that can petrify enemies in glass. A Warframe that potentially has a better Snow Globe than Snow Globe itself. A Warframe that has a really powerful damage stacking mechanic. A Warframe that is hot. I think Gara is S tier, chat. What do you guys reckon? I think Gara is S tier. How do y'all agree? How do y'all feel about that statement right there? Because, like, Shattered Lash, along with Mass Vitrify, can just produce some of the most insane damage scalings in the universe. And it's actually pretty nuts, especially when you use it like that. Spectral Rage is kind of crap all by itself, but Spectra Siphon is fantastic. Splinter Storm literally makes you a tank as well, which is really, really good, I think. S tier. I really think she's an S tier. Yeah. Yeah. Also, she looks fantastic too, so yeah. S tier. Boom. Just like that. Okay. Let's move on to the next Warframe. S tier in speed, S tier in Steel Path, and B tier in Endurance runs, I guess. Okay, maybe. Okay, you ready? The next Warframe is Garuda. A Warframe who is able to basically not even give a damn about enemy armor. A Warframe who is able to produce one of the strongest nukes in the game. A Warframe that is able to heal everyone quite well for the most part. A Warframe that is able to provide herself with an extreme amount of energy really, really easily. Her passive is a bit her passive is a little bit K-Kona, but aside from that, or rather her passive is a bit useless, but aside from that, S tier. And I feel like I'm going to be the only person on the internet who ever says that Garuda is S tier. She does everything she needs. She has everything in her kit needed to be a ludicrous DPS Warframe. Just the simple fact that one use of her third ability and you get half your energy pull back, and it's not even you get a certain amount of energy back, it's a portion of your energy pool. So as long as you run something like, I don't know, Prime Flow, you get 300 energy back just by pressing E. Sorry, 3. You get 300 energy back just by pressing 3? So you can just continue to pop off, and you have a heal on top of that? It's the easiest S tier possible. And I feel like am I the only one who's saying this, chat? Am I the only person who agrees with this idea? That Garuda is still S tier. She does everything and she can't die. Well, she can still die because she doesn't run on shields. So she can still die, but most of the time you're not dying. Most of the time you're not dying. If you're standing if you got 3 healing siphons near you, most of the time you're not dying. You should be killing everything, and most of the time you're not dying. S tier. S tier for me. Gauss. What value does Mark Rush have, aside from just being fast? Because I don't see a whole lot of value in being fast if you're just running into walls. Oh, but what about Titania? Razorwing Blitz increases the attack speed of your guns, the fire rate of your guns. So, quick thinking. Wait, what? Welcome back, Soup. How does being fast have anything to do with quick thinking? I'm not sure. CC and knockdown melee finishes. Okay. That's a fair point. So we've got a Warframe who is also able to strip armor really easily. I think. Well, you still got to build a meter, but then it ends up being pretty good, eh? He's also nigh invulnerable because of kinetic plating. Quick thinking works the same way as extra health, though. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's the only question I have about him, because otherwise I think he's actually like somewhere between A and S tier. I think Gauss is somewhere between A and S tier. Like his fourth ability is actually pretty useful. In terms of like weapon buffing, it's actually pretty useful. His second ability makes him a nigh invulnerable tank. His third ability is a really good way to strip armor and do a lot of damage too. Actually, it does a ton of damage. It does scaling damage, I think. Soup saying S tier. Okay. Okay. Then S tier it is. Gauss mains rejoice. The fast boy. Well, he's not exactly the fast. Well, actually, is he the fast? No, he's not. Bolt is faster. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Ooh, I may have just copped a lot of downvotes from the Gauss mains out there. What do you mean? Bolt is faster. Gauss is faster. What do you mean? What do you mean? Relax, guys. Relax. Okay. Yeah, Gauss. S tier. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. 100%. I can agree with that. Grendel. The big boy. The big boy who has some real nice scaling damage. And he strips armor too. You eat enemies and you start stripping their armor. With some power strength, it will still take about 20 seconds, but you can just hold them all in and just move on and kill something else. Roly-poly is fun. It doesn't necessarily do a whole lot of damage, but it's still fun. You know? Actually, no. Sorry, that's a mistake. Does the rolling not do a pretty decent amount of damage if you happen to have, like, 10 enemies in your belly? I don't know. He has a really powerful heal, but he won't get S tier because I don't think Regurgitate is any good. I don't like his third ability at all. I don't see any value in his third ability. Although if you could potentially say, like, yo, what about shooting enemies with his... shooting Corpus with his third ability? You might be right, because I'm pretty sure it does toxin damage, right? People shit on Grendel because of his aesthetics. Yeah. His DPS, a lot of his damage definitely comes from just eating enemies. That's for sure. I mean, like, how do you not say that a Warframe like Grendel is really, really strong when I could just rock up to, like, a bunch of, not necessarily corrupted heavy gunners, but, like, friggin', Gokstat officers. Like, I've done this before. I've done this so many times. Right? You walk up to a bunch of Gokstat officers, the tankiest enemies in the game, and you just eat them up. And then you just sit there. You just eat them. You just eat them and you sit there and you just wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. I mean, you might as well just go off and kill something else at the same time, right? With the exception of this guy. With the exception of that guy, you kill all of them. And these are Gokstar officers, man. It's kind of nuts. I think Grendel is A tier, but not S tier. That's where I'll leave him. A tier, but not S tier. Why is he saying, ooh, ooh, ooh? Okay, okay, the next one. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to, whoops. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make a new row. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make a new row for the next Warframe, chat. Unfortunately, fortunately, we're gonna have to make a new row for the next Warframe. Because that Warframe is Harrow. I did a video on this. I think it happened, I did a video on this, like, probably one of the first videos I did this year, I think. For Harrow. Yes, Soup. Yes. Harrow was already an S-tier Warframe. Harrow was already a Warframe that provided everyone with ludicrous amounts of crit chance, provided everyone with ludicrous amounts of healing, provided everyone with ludicrous amounts of energy, provided everyone with even crowd control. Crowd control. I'm not making a new row for everything. I'm not. I am not. But let me explain why I'm making a new row for Harrow and Harrow specifically. This Warframe was already triple S tier. I've been out from the game for more than a year now. People use Grendel. Not really, but I feel like he's underappreciated. He's underappreciated. Not that many people use him, but he is really good. Okay? Harrow was a Warframe that was already insanely strong. So long as you got used to how he worked. He was already insanely strong. What did DE do, chat? What the hell did DE do? I'll tell you what DE did. Okay? Let me show you what DE did. These guys. DE. I don't know why they decided to do this. What the? Where's? Oh yeah, there he is. When Harrow Prime came out, they did this. His energy bar has preparation baked in. You don't need to use the preparation mod at all. At all. You start off with all of your energy. And then they did this. They buffed the amount of energy that Harrow gets when you use his durable. 87 energy per kill. So long as I bring a weapon that can, you know, kill something, it's friggin' easy mode. Look at that, I just got all my energy back. You know? I just got all my energy back. They also did something with his first ability, which I don't really care about. I think they also made it so that his second ability outright heals them when you use it. So like, just by doing that, you are effectively already healed as is, and then you can just continue to pop off with your, you know, with your weapon. They made a weapon. They made a Warframe that was already really, really powerful. Even stronger. They buffed Harrow for some reason, and that's why Harrow gets his own tier. They buffed a Warframe that was already stupid strong. Okay? That's the reality. Okay? That is the reality. Harrow is by far, probably, easily the strongest Warframe in the game. It's that simple. And you can use him in Eidolon hunts. Alright, let's move on. Hildryn is still a really, really powerful Warframe. Some people don't like her fourth ability, but she's still really, really powerful. I can't imagine how much energy pads I use with Harrow. Why would you use energy pads with Harrow? His third ability provides you with so much energy. Even back in the old days, it already provided you with a lot of energy. In the old days, it'd be like 40 energy per kill, but then they just doubled it. Now it's 80 energy per kill, at least with the build that I was running, right? So, Hildryn, still really, really strong. I actually, you know what? No, she's S tier. I reckon Hildryn is still S tier. She's tanky as all hell. And she's shield tanky as well, which makes her even more tankier than, you know, someone. And, she can strip armor. She can crowd control enemies, and her gun, her balefire is actually pretty strong. It actually does a lot of just straight up raw damage. It can hit pretty hard. So yeah, I reckon Hildryn is S tier. What do you guys reckon? What do you guys reckon? Is Hildryn S tier or A tier? Because she's definitely not B tier or lower, that's for sure. Gay ass D House saying C tier? What? Hildryn, C tier? Really? Are you sure about that? How bad is your experience of Hildryn been? I don't agree with that one bit, mate. I do not agree with that one bit. Cephalomaro is saying A tier. I think I'm content with S tier for Hildryn. S tier, Hildryn is still... Hildryn, to this day, still really, really strong. Is there ever going to be an augment for her fourth ability? Actually, is there an augment for her fourth ability? I don't remember anymore. There's also Blazing Pillage, which is basically like Pillage, but better. Which is kind of hilarious. No, Aegis Storm doesn't have an augment yet. Hopefully we'll get an Aegis Storm augment that makes Aegis Storm pretty interesting to use. It's already fun to use, because you can hover around and, you know, you basically become a helicopter mom. But, I don't know, something that could make Aegis Storm just a little bit better, that could be nice as well. Okay, the next Warframe is going to be Hydroid. Now, I know a lot of people dunk on Hydroid. They always say like, oh, Hydroid is really bad, oh, Hydroid F tier, Hydroid F tier, Hydroid worst Warframe in the game. So let's have a look at what he can do. His first ability is not terribly useful, but Corroding Barrage is a thing that exists. That's his augment for his first ability. Can be useful for some armor strip. His second ability is Tidal Surge. It's alright, it's not that useful in my opinion. I don't see much value in it myself. If I ever use Hydroid, Tidal Surge is actually the ability that I get rid of, and I replace it with something else, like Dispensary, for example. There is the augment for Tidal Surge, which is a cleanse, which... Chat, let me... no, there's like... It's not the only cleanse. It's not the only cleanse in the game. Oberon's also got a cleanse that doesn't need an augment, but the main thing is like... Hydroid does have access to a cleanse, so that could be really useful too. It's just that like... the fact of the matter is, it's a cleanse that you have to... That not only works when you use the ability, as opposed to, say... Oberon's cleanse, which is persistent so long as you stand on the damn carpet, right? So it's a little bit different. It's not ideal in my opinion to have a cleanse that you have to use. Is it duration based? Oh wait, no, is it duration based? Shows how much I know about him. I use dispenser on everything. Yeah. I do. Tidal, I think it's called tidal impurity, right? Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's 12. It's 12 seconds. No, you're right. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. There goes that point then. Okay, never mind. Okay, tidal impurity. Pretty good. Yep, tidal impurity is pretty good. There's puddle, which is supposed to do some nice damage so long as you can keep enemies inside the puddle long enough. So as long as you have enough energy to sustain that many enemies inside your puddle. And it also works really well with something like Corrosive Barrage. You can actually take out a lot of high-level armored enemies using the puddle and Corrosive Barrage. The puddle also can heal, so long as people stand in the puddle. The only issue with that is that, like, on the Uranus times tile set, you can barely see the puddle, number one. Number two, I think even in other tile sets, like, how often have you gotten healed by a Hydroid? How often have you ever said, like, oh crap, I'm dying, thank fuck there's a Hydroid. Let me stand on his puddle and heal. Because the puddle has an augment. It's not called puddle. The ability is not even called puddle. It's called something else. That will require people to play Hydroid. That is true. That is true. Not a lot of people play Hydroid. And of the folks who do play Hydroid, Curative Undertow, that's what it's called. And of the folks who do play Hydroid, I don't know anyone who actually does that. Loki, Hydroid is the only Warframe I'm struggling to find some value in. Yeah, so that's what. Okay, cool. His augment can provide some armor stripping, but it's only through corrosive procs. So if you're already someone who uses a corrosive weapon, this augment's not going to be terribly useful for you. You're going to be doubling down on some nonsense, right? Tidal Impurity could be pretty good as a cleanse, especially since I just discovered it's on a duration. I didn't know that. Curative Undertow is a great way to heal. You heal 30% health. I think. Actually, it doesn't even work. I'm pretty sure it works on allies, doesn't it? It doesn't just work on yourself, right? Yeah, it heals Hydroid and his allies. Yeah, so it's a 30% health regeneration every 1.5 seconds. Which could be really fast. Oh, it heals defense objects. Wait, since when did it do that? Really? Huh. There's your value right there. Defense target healing. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else who can do that right now. Maybe someone else can. I don't think Oberon can't. I don't think Oberon can heal defense targets. Unless the defense target is someone that's walking around. If it's a defense object, I don't think Oberon can heal that. Actually, no. Even if it's the guy walking around, I don't think Oberon can heal that either. Right? Garuda can't, I don't think. Anyway. I think he is B tier. And as well, don't forget, he does have the augment for his tentacles. Yeah, people could enjoy these frames if well-known content creators didn't just say their shit straight out of the gate. Yep. That's why I don't actually watch any Warframe YouTubers anymore, with the exception of Asian Invasion plays. Because if I want to try out a Warframe, I'm gonna try him out anyway. So fuck, I don't care what some Warframe YouTuber says. If I want to try out a Warframe, if I want to use a Warframe, I'm just gonna use them. Don't mind me, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, Hydroid is hovering between B and C tier, but I would probably still leave him in B tier. I think he's still pretty good by himself. He's just that, like, barely anyone plays him because, as some people have mentioned in the chat, there are definitely other Warfares that could do certain things better than Hydroid. So he doesn't exactly excel in his own thing, but as a package, I think he's still pretty solid. Okay? Oh boy. I'll be right back. How many people are new to my channel? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know how many people are new to my channel? How many people are unaware of my absolute, unbridled hatred and disgust of Harrow? Oh, sorry, of Inaros' kit, not Harrow. Harrow's fantastic. How many people here in this channel, in this chat right now, don't know about my unbridled disgust of Inaros' fundamentally boring as batshit kit? A Warframe that whose all his abilities, all they're designed to do is heal, 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 and heal. And then provide armor and be tanky, but because he has no shields, he gets one-shotted anyway. He has no shield, so he has no shield gating. Which by definition makes him actually makes him the squishiest Warframe in the game. He has no shields. At some point, every Warframe can still take at least 2 hits. One hit that gets rid of all their shields, and then one hit that gets rid of all their health. Inaros, at some point, can only take 1 shot, and he gets one-shotted. As Andy mentioned in chat, Inaros has no abilities. And we know this for a fact, an undisputed fact, when Inaros mains literally will argue with me that say that he is good, and my issue with the fact that he has boring abilities is completely null and void because they do not use his abilities. Thus proving that he is a boring Warframe. And, okay, 10k health on your Inaros. Cool. But you're asleep. You're asleep. So, who cares? Who cares? Inaros needs a rework, okay? This is an undisputable fact. I don't care what anyone says. Inaros needs a rework. He is the only person, he's the only Warframe that I have that I am at all comfortable saying is F tier. He's the only Warframe I'm comfortable saying is F tier. Every other Warframe has something cool to offer. Something cool, something awesome to offer, something to do. Awesome. What the hell does Inaros have? His third ability is just straight up like not useful unless you are in a very specific part of a map where there's like a ceiling and some walls so that enemies don't get flung out, right? Otherwise, the crowd control, it's kind of all over the place, and it's also self-crowd control because you're spinning. Whoop-de friggin' do. His second ability is great for a healing ability. His second ability is fantastic. I'm with you on that. His second ability is fantastic for healing. Yeah, absolutely. The problem is, his first ability is also great for healing because his passive is also good for healing. If you sand people, if you chuck pocket sand at people with your first ability, and then you kill them with a melee finisher, guess what? You get like 30% of your health back. It's not a number of health back, it is a percentage of health back. So one could argue that his first ability is his best ability for healing, because when you have 10k health on Inaros, instead of just eating people, just sand someone, kill them with a melee finisher, you get like 3,000 health back. Holy shit! So that's really good. So then why even have his second ability? Where a lot of people are like, oh, this Warframe is not good because there are Warframes that do better than him or her. Or this ability on this Warframe is not good because other Warframe have an ability that do better than them. Okay, that's not really what I care about. But with Inaros, my point is, pick your favorite healing ability from Inaros. His other abilities are now completely useless because he literally has an ability on his own bloody kit that outclasses the other abilities. When you have a Warframe where you have 4 abilities that do exactly the same thing. Heal. You pick one, and then the other 3 are dog shit. The other 3 serve no purpose. Why would you want to use any of the other 3 abilities when you could use the first one? Now, granted, the 4th ability is very useful as well. You can get a lot of armor from it. And you can get quite a lot of crowd control from it too if you manage to come across a gigantic group of enemies and then you you sacrifice a bit of your scarab armor to then spread the sand. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, and you can heal from his 4th ability as well. Okay, that's cool. So, at least 2 of his abilities are useless. Pick 2. Sorry, Sandstorm, and then pick 1. At least 2 of his abilities are useless. Sandstorm, and then pick 1. He needs a rework. The dude needs a rework. Let's move on. Before I go into a 15-minute rant, which I don't want to do, because this tier list video has already gone past the hour mark. He's the only F tier Warframe. Ivara. Whilst I don't like Navigator, I can see value in Navigator. Navigator can be really strong in the right hands. I personally am dog shit at using Navigator. Gay SD, how you're saying S tier for Ivara? Okay. Yeah, you can make an argument for S tier Ivara. I really like the Artemis bow. I really do. I just wish that Prime Exalted weapons were stronger than their original Exalted weapons. It just feels weird that like Artemis Bow Prime and Artemis Bow Regular are functionally exactly the same. They have the exact same stats. It's the same with Titania, it's the same with Mesa, it's the same with all characters that have a Prime, that have an Exalted weapon, and then eventually a Prime Exalted weapon. The stats are exactly the same as the regular Exalted weapon, which feels weird to me. So maybe if DE could do something about that to make the Primes, I guess, have better Exalted weapons, that'd be great. Does Artemis Bow need a buff? Chat, what do you guys think? Does Artemis Bow Prime need a buff? In my opinion, Artemis Bow Prime is absolutely perfectly fine the way it is. I don't think it needs a buff. Is it getting power crept by a lot of other bows? Natorok, Kuva Brahma, you know, some other Proboscis Sonos. Are there bows that exist that could have more power value than Artemis Bow? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. But I still don't feel like an Artemis Bow necessarily needs a buff. And if you really need to do more damage with your Artemis Bow, just chuck in some more power strength, fuck it, you know? She has some incredible energy efficiency, I think, in my opinion, at least with some decent... With enough like actual energy management, you can basically be sitting in Prowl all day every day and just shoot everyone dead. So there's that. So I would be leaning towards. I would be sitting in A tier only because I don't like Navigator. If you like Navigator, then she's an S tier. But either my skill with I just don't see value in Navigator. Especially if I'm using Artemis Bow. Navigator with Artemis Bow doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Unless you're using the Augment, in which case fine, that makes perfect sense. Navigator to me is just too weird of an ability to use. I don't like it myself. So she'll be A tier. But then she's S tier. I don't know. Chat, what do you guys reckon? S tier or A tier? Go. Kennesaw, how's it going, man? We're doing a Warframe tier list. We've been spending the past hour and nearly a half doing a Warframe tier list, and we're only making it past I. I'll only use Navigator if they ever make an org where you teleport to where the arrow is. I agree with that. Soup says, where's my name on the credits? If my name is not on the credits, then my name's not on the credits. Your hair's looking magnificent today. Thank you. I actually watched it this morning. So we're looking at a bunch of A's and S tiers, and I agree with everyone. I agree with everyone. A or S tier. It's literally A or S tier. Okay, the next Warframe is going to be Khora. I think a lot of people say Khora is S tier, but I'm hesitant to say that. Only because Venari has this weird thing where she still has a stance that I'm not seeing any value in. Protect stance just, to me, seems like it exists just to cockblock you from using heal stance. Just for that brief second before you die. You know? Seeing a friend of mine play her, S tier. But when you play her, B tier. Yeah, no, I feel that. I'm inclined to put her in A tier. If anyone can provide me with some reason to use the protect stance on Venari, then she immediately becomes S tier. That's my reason. That's how I feel. Okay. I just don't know why I would ever want to use Venari. But she has the best 2 really great CCs and an AoE stat stick. Yeah, you are right. That is really strong. But I reserve S tier for Warframes where every single ability is super duper useful. And Venari is just... it's just that protect stance. It's just that protect stance, DE. You want to make Venari S tier? You want to make Venari S tier? Give me a reason to use protect stance or just get rid of protect stance. Ironically enough, you get rid of protect stance, S tier. you get rid of protect stance of Venari and suddenly Khora is S tier. I have no problem making that change in this tier list if such a change were to happen. It's that simple. All right. Next Warframe is Lavos. The least used Warframe of 2021, although he didn't only come out recently. Right? Yes. Maybe. I don't know. Soup saying F tier. Why? Cock and Obama saying D tier. Lavos kinda eh. I think the reason why a lot of people don't necessarily like Lavos is because he's probably he's like a really mechanically not confusing, but he's a mechanically complex character. The fact of the matter is, like, you basically have to like figure out how you want to use him. You gotta like remember like which elements do you want to infuse your abilities with. You gotta remember like when do you want to use your third ability, because if you chuck out your third ability too early, what it is doing jack shit, because what is your third ability? It's cooldown reduction. So in theory, you want to burn through your first, second, and fourth ability first before you go through your third ability, right? He's also a Warframe where you fundamentally don't really want to get rid of any of his abilities, because once you get rid of one of your abilities, you lose out on some elements, which, if you ask me, is a really bad idea. I think people still subsume some of Lavos's... I think people still replace some of Lavos's abilities anyway. I personally am not a fan of that, mainly because of the whole element thing that I was just saying. So, yeah. I'm not inclined to put him on D tier, but I'm not inclined to put him any higher than B tier. What do you guys reckon? I give him at least a B, but he can be hard to use. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Somewhere between C and B tier. Let's go with let's go to B. Let's go to D tier. Maybe you can remove his dash, but really, what are you gonna add? Yeah, exactly. First off, you can't even do dispensary. Lavos S tier because he's good at Railjack. That's fair. This is unfortunately not a Warframe Railjack tier list, but okay. Take that. That's a good point. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention. one of the things that definitely makes Lavos really mechanically tricky to play is the idea that you should prime enemies with a lot of different elements first, and then you drop his fourth ability and you nuke the entire room. We've seen it before. You can demonstrate. You can do that in Simulacrum. You can do that in missions as well. The only thing is that, like, if you have someone there, if you have literally someone else on the team, unfortunately, they're gonna steal your kills. If you're by yourself, oh yeah, it's a playground. If you're by yourself, it's definitely a playground for Lavos. So, yeah, I don't know. We also don't really, I guess unless you're playing a level cap gameplay, I don't think we really have, like, tanky enough trash mobs to withstand getting hit by his second ability and getting, like, primed up with a bunch of different elements, and then getting hit by his fourth ability that is getting buffed by all of those different elements to the point where, like, if there's still someone surviving that shit, then at least you know, like, oh wow, okay, I really needed that much damage because at least now they're almost dead, but they're not dead yet. I don't think we have enemies like that in Steel Pass missions. If there was a faster way to get to level cap missions, then maybe Lavos would be higher on the tier list. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I can go any higher than B at the moment. That's just me. Okay. Lavos would be way lower level cap because he dies. Okay. Or really? Oh, because I guess he doesn't exactly have, like, percentage health damage or anything like that, huh? I don't know. I don't know. Did you actually work on pieces of her? Yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, see ya, Cephalon Mara. Okay, the next WarFrame is Limbo, the Dark Magician. If my name's not anywhere, then none of the people on my team would have their names there. You reckon Lavos is D tier because his damage build-up is too slow? Okay. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, B is about as high as I can go. Whoops. Okay, Limbo. Plus Aqua Blade's Augment, triple S tier. No, no, Limbo is always really good. Is he A tier? I guess is the question. Because he's not, I don't think he's S tier necessarily. Although, then again, Stasis, Cataclysm, really good. His first ability is a bit, chat, who here actually uses, okay, aside from trolling purposes, who here actually uses Limbo's first ability? I want to know. Who here actually uses Limbo's first ability outside of trolling purposes? Because if I'm playing attack mode Limbo, I actually sometimes do. Sometimes. Not always, sometimes. Very vaguely, though. It's a bit random. It's just his first ability that I kind of feel a bit weird. I use Limbo's first ability to isolate. Okay. Okay. See, I don't feel the need to do that when I can just stasis everyone. But yeah, A tier makes sense to me. Yeah, A tier makes sense to me. Yeah. I like his third augment. His third augment is actually really good. What is it? Rift Torrent. Yeah, Rift Torrent is actually really strong. You trap a bunch of enemies, you stasis them, and then you press 3, and suddenly your weapon is doing, like, a bunch more damage. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Cataclysm doesn't move around and has a long cast time. That is true. Rift Torrent is so broken with Breach Charge. Yeah. I've never done that before, but I should try that out. Yeah. And he can regenerate energy. For everyone. Slowly, but for everyone. As long as you're in the stasis, you're getting energy. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with leaving him on A tier. Okay, the next WarFrame is Loki. Oh dear. Oh dear. Banish the hostage. Oh yeah, you're right. S tier. Okay. Yeah, you're right, actually. You're absolutely right. Okay. Loki. I'm sorry, Triboros, but I don't like Loki at all. His decoy is useless outside of level 5 gameplay because his decoy only needs to get shot once and then it's dead. It literally doesn't scale at all. It just starts off with what, like 3 health or something like that. It just gets tapped in Steel Path missions and then it's gone. What's the point of having a decoy to begin with? His invisibility is great, but you can't just pin all your hopes and dreams on a Warframe with invisibility. His switch teleport doesn't exactly serve a purpose. If it worked like it did in a super duper old trailer for Warframe, where you could switch teleport someone, like, there's an old... Okay, let me bring up an old Warframe trailer. The open beta Warframe trailer, ladies and gentlemen. This one. Is there the official one from DE? Okay, guess not. So, this trailer right here, this is the original OG Warframe trailer. So, there was one thing that happened in the trailer. Right? There is one thing that happened in the trailer. There's Loki getting his ass beat, but also sort of kicking and killing people. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, here comes Lek Krill. Okay, here comes Loki again. If that's something that Loki can actually do in the game, I've never seen anyone do that before. But if you could switch teleport someone while a boss is about to do a swing, and that boss ends up doing, like, friendly fire, or hell, just straight up kills that enemy for you. Can the boss end up killing that enemy, though? Yeah, he switched teleport with a Grenadier, but did the boss kill the enemy afterwards? No. No, a boss can't really do that. You can switch teleport to get out of the way. No, I'm not. Yeah, I know that. I'm talking about if you could switch teleport with an enemy, and then the boss accidentally kills the enemy. Okay. Okay. Some sort of cool, neat way to kill one entire enemy. Okay. That would be enough to at least bring him above D tier. You know? Low standard for D tier. Wait, I don't think you can do that either. Radial disarm and radiated disarm is fine. There is some value in that. I guess. But that's why he's not F tier. His invisibility and his radiated disarm are the only reasons why I'm not putting him in F tier, okay? A part of me really wants to put him in F tier because I really don't think he's good. I really, really, really don't think he's good. Okay? But he has invisibility, which is good. He has radial and radiating disarm, which is pretty good. But goddammit, his switch teleport serves next to no purpose outside of speedrunning, and his decoy is actually not usable in Steel Path missions. I'm almost guaranteed. I'm almost certain that his decoy cannot be used in Steel Path missions. Have you tried Savage Silence with Loki? Savage Silence Loki. Okay, that could work. That's mainly because Savage Silence is really good. And also you're invisible. That makes sense. But we're not talking about subsuming, we're not talking about replacing abilities on a Warframe for this tier list. We're just talking about the Warframe as is with all faults. Have you tried Eclipse Loki? That's literally like Eclipse Ivara. Yes, I would assume Eclipse Loki is really strong. In much the same way that Eclipse Ivara is really strong as well, yes. I don't need to try, I know. But that's mainly because Eclipse actually works in that snapshotting way, and that makes it really, really useful. Okay, let's move on. Mag, who obviously gets her own tier list. Who obviously gets her own tier. What's Eclipse again? Eclipse is the ability from Mirage. So Mirage is so that ability basically depends on whether you're standing in light when you used it or whether you're standing in darkness. If you're in light, then your weapons gain extra damage. If you're in darkness, then you gain incoming damage reduction. You basically gain like a sort of like an armor, if you will. But it's not armor. It's just straight up damage reduction. It's not armor. So it can't be stripped, and it works on top of any armor that you already have. So it's not so you don't get diminishing returns. It's just straight up damage reduction. I don't think Mag is high enough. Yeah, you're right. I should be putting it far higher, but no. She's not stronger than Harrow, okay? I'm gonna say this right now. As a Mag main forever, as a Mag lover forever, she's not stronger than Harrow. I'm gonna tell you right now, she's not stronger than Harrow, okay? There ain't nobody stronger than Harrow. I think. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, Mag is great. Despite the fact that I get rid of Pull, Pull is still useful. Okay, Pull still has a lot of value. Easy crowd control. And not just that, easy crowd control, you could also fling people off the map. Easy crowd control, and you also have Greedy Pull, so you could also just grab resources with you if you want. She also has Bullet Jump Vacuum, which is great if you lose your Sentinel or you lose your pet. Crush is great. Fracturing Crush is fantastic. Polarize is great. Counterpulse is fantastic. Magnetize is great. Obviously, a lot of people obviously a lot of people when they see Mag is like, oh, just use Magnetize, just use Magnetize. Okay, cool. Magnetize is great. Magnetizing Disarm is fantastic, and also it's a great way to just do Nuke Mag as well. Nuke Magnetize, because you basically have a trigger for Nuke Magnetize with Magnetizing Discharge, so that's really, really good as well. Yeah. This is like, yeah, I have no problems with playing Mag. So I don't care what anyone says. Obviously, Alchemist and Soup are memeing, or I don't know about Soup, but Alchemist is memeing. But yeah, Mag is definitely in that level. All her skills are damage, crowd control, easily the most balanced out of the starters since Volt became more of a support class and Excalibur is on DPS. But keep in mind, Mag is also sort of a support character because she can give everyone shields. She can give everyone shields through Crush. Yes. She can give everyone shields through Crush. She can give her pets shields, she can give her Sentinel shields, she can give her allies shields through Crush as well. So Mag can also support everyone as well. Shield Gate Queen, yeah. Polarize too, yeah, can restore everyone's shields, yeah. Yeah. So Vault is support is great for like damage buffing, but I think you're going to survive a lot longer if you have a Mag on your team. Yeah. That being said, though, Vault does have that augment. We'll talk about Vault in a bit, okay, guys? We'll talk about Vault in a bit. Okay, Mesa. I don't know if I was using her wrong, but when I was using Mesa, like when Steel Path first came out, I found her guns to not be terribly useful. Like they somehow crit weapon, somehow that kind of just almost heavy crit, pure crit that didn't even do as much damage. In Steel Path missions, they did not seem as useful as like Titania's guns that were like very status based. Now so her guns are going to be very subjective. Okay, you could potentially build her guns to be really, really strong. In which case, you know, ignore everything I just said. But that's all her other ability. So first ability is just straight up useless. I don't see any value in her first ability outside of maybe using sniper rifles. But who in their right mind brings a sniper rifle with Mesa? Well, who uses a sniper rifle with Mesa? If you use a sniper rifle with Mesa, okay, yeah, her first ability is useful, but I don't give a shit about it. Her second ability is cool. It's some crowd control, so that's pretty cool. Her third ability is great against ranged enemies, that's for sure. Her third ability is a great way to just survive, so that's nice. She could be A tier if you build her guns right, I guess. Maybe I wasn't building her guns right. Yeah, somewhere between A and B is where I would leave her. My experience, B, but I think a better built Mesa would probably put her on A tier. S tier, no. I would never allow her to be S tier until ballistic battery actually gets changed to something that is somewhat useful for anyone using anything outside of sniper rifle. You could say, oh, what about a bow? I don't think the idea of Mesa is to use a bow. I don't know. Like her kit, like if the idea is to use her peacemakers, I don't see how anyone would ever use ballistic battery with peacemaker. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, you know? And you can't even charge up ballistic battery while you're using peacemaker. You know what? If you could activate peacemaker if you could activate ballistic battery while you're in peacemaker, to charge up ballistic battery, discharge it, and then charge it up again while you're still in peacemaker mode, maybe I could see some value in peacemaker. Oh, sorry, maybe I could see some value in ballistic battery. I do not miss the old Draco days. Oh boy. Let's move on. Mirage. One of the strongest damage buffing abilities for weapons. A really mobile character, frankly. Her clones are her shadow clone jutsu is actually pretty good at drawing fire away, but it won't keep you completely safe. You can still die. And her prism kills everything really hard, like a lot harder than a lot of people give it credit for. I don't know how many people realize that prism actually hits pretty bloody hard. The only reason why she's not going to be S tier is because I don't see any reason to use her second ability. Explosives, not Hall of Mirrors, Sleight of Hand. I don't see much of a reason to use Sleight of Hand. And this is actually going to be a point that I'm going to be taking from the one and only Brozime. This is actually a point that he made that I 100% agree with. Not only do I see much of a reason to use Mirage, not only do I see much of a reason to use Sleight of Hand to begin with, Sleight of Hand also gets rid of your drops and your energy orbs. That's not... Well, actually, does it still get rid of your energy orbs? Or did they change that? I'm pretty sure the idea is to get rid of your drops, at least, so... Yeah. I don't know. Why is Lavos B tier? Last time you rated him S tier? Probably recency bias. Like... I don't know, I just don't see... It's not that I don't see value in him, it's just that, like... I don't know, it's such a... Whatever I said before. He has a lot of mechanical... difficulty or challenge, but the problem is that, like, he's just all over the place. Or something like that, I don't know. If you know the Corpus Outpost defense mission, you can shoot Prism down the center of the map and it reaches all the gates and the sides. Oh, damn. Okay. That's pretty good. Oh, you're talking about the one with the great big hole? And then there's, like, the part underneath? You're talking about the great big square one? The defense is, like, here. There's, like, doors over there. There's doors over there. There's doors over there. There's, like, a bit out the back as well. You go up a lift. That one? Yeah. And there's a great big hole in the middle with, like, a giant pit. Yeah, that one. Yeah. So yeah, Mesa is A tier. Mesa is A tier. Oh, sorry, Mirage is A tier. Not Mesa. Fuck Mesa. Mirage is A tier. Nekros! Chad, who here uses Soul Punch? Who here uses Soul Punch? Red. Hey, Hugh. I do. Okay, cool. If you use Soul Punch, then, Nekros is A tier. Who here uses Terrify? I don't I personally don't see enough value in Terrify, and also here's the thing that I really don't like about Nekros. Get ready for this. This is the thing I don't like about Nekros is that his energy pool, even as Nekros Prime, is extremely low. I think as Nekros Prime, he only has 188 base. Am I correct in that? Kennesaw uses Terrify. Some of you uses Terrify. Okay, cool. Good to know. I think Nekros Prime at base. Yeah, it's still. Wait, where is he? Twins. I think it's still 188 energy at base, which is like super duper low for a Prime Warframe. And so like even when you use like a Prime Flow on Nekros, you don't exactly get a whole lot of energy for a pool, I think. I don't know. That being said though, he does have thingamajig, Desecrate. Desecrate? No, Desecrate's the augment. Despoil. No, Despoil? Yeah, no, Despoil. Yeah, so of course he also has Despoil, so that helps. Means you don't necessarily need to use energy to you know, loot enemies. So that's nice. But that's a little bit annoying. I don't use Despoil actually. Really? Why not? Nekros is a very utility frame. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I guess the thing about Nekros is just that, like, he can be tanky with his fourth ability augment. He can be tanky. He can, obviously he can loot enemies really well. That's the main draw. I find Soul Punch to be a little bit memey. He's a great farmer. He's the great farmer. I find Soul Punch to be a little bit memey, but okay, fair enough. If you use it, then you use it. So I wouldn't put him on S tier, and I feel like I'm a little bit iffy about Terrify. The only thing I don't like about Terrify is that it doesn't strip enough armor. 35% armor at base, which basically means you effectively need like somewhere around the 300 energy, 300% power strength, just to strip everyone's armor. You could try and make do with like a 200% power strength Nekros, I guess, if you want to do like 70% armor strip and then another 70% armor strip. But even then, you're gonna have to like figure it out from there. I don't know if anyone even does that. I'm hovering between A and S. Chat, I'm hovering between A and S. Sorry, A and B, rather. I'm hovering between A and B. I'll probably leave him on A tier. I think that still makes sense to me. Nekros tier. Okay, Nezha. How does everyone feel about Nezha? I feel like Nezha is like A tier and that's it. I think Nezha is A tier and that's about it, and I have no real reason why he's not in S tier. It's just that like all of his abilities are useful. His first ability is useful for that speed and also for the status cleansing. His second ability is useful because it's chakra. I just vaguely remember it did a lot of damage, but still Nezha can at least like teleport around all over the place, so that's pretty good. His chakram is not what it used to be. I also feel the same way about it. I don't know why either. But yeah, I think Chakram could probably do with a damage boost, I think. I don't know. His third ability is really, really good. Basically makes him a tank. And his fourth ability is really great crowd control. So all of his abilities are still useful in some way, shape, or form. So he could be S tier, it's just that I don't feel like he's S tier because for some reason every time I use him, I don't feel uber-tastically special. You know? I just don't feel uber-tastically special. His abilities? Yes. Soup. His abilities. I'm saying his abilities. Okay? So that's how I feel about Nezha. Alright. Nidus. You know how I said that Inaros is the squishiest Warframe in the game because he doesn't have any shields? So Nidus also doesn't have any shields. And yet Nidus is not as squishy, nowhere near as squishy as Inaros. You know why? Because Nidus with even some stacks, with enough stacks, has a revive mechanic. Nidus has a revive mechanic, so that particular point just flies out the window. Nidus' abilities are also very useful. He has a really strong crowd control for his second ability. His first ability does tons of damage and can also stack. It can stack really, really well. So I like that. His third ability is either a fantastic booster or just another way to be ludicrously tanky. And his fourth ability is a heal. One could argue that his fourth ability is not as strong, but it can heal and it gives him a heal and it gives everyone a small heal. And also, it summons the fucking maggots that then go and attack people and make them all crowd controlled. So you know what? Fuck it. I don't care if it doesn't do damage as a fourth ability. It's a giant heal. Oh, not a giant heal. It's a decent-ish heal. And it summons the maggots, which you can then also kill, I think, to get stacks. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I'm correct. I don't know. So, yeah. S tier. Yeah. Yeah, S tier. Makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Next WarFrame. Nova. Let's go through Nova. Her first ability is great. It's a really good way to just prime enemies to take twice as much damage, which is always nice. Always appreciated, Nova. Her third ability is a wormhole, always appreciated. Her second ability is a pretty decent nuke if you bring a particular weapon. And her first ability, how does everyone feel about her first ability? Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like the idea of having to build a fuck ton of duration just so that her first ability can be sort of somewhat useful. Nova lacks purpose? I don't know, man. She can still nuke the room. So that's no. So she always has that. I don't like her first ability. Nova is A tier with no mag on the team and S tier with mag on the team. Huh. That's an interesting distinction. Is it because of magnetize or is it because of something else? Oh, is it because of polarize? Where you prime enemies up and then mag does the polarize and everyone explodes and somehow that kills everything? Is this in Steel Path or is this in normal missions? Thanks to Saryn, who needs Nova? Well, that's not really how I put WarFrames into this tier list. I don't think about like what a WarFrame, how powerful a WarFrame is in relation to everyone else. I'm only interested in how powerful is a WarFrame just as is. Because just because there's a better WarFrame doesn't mean I'm not going to use mag. I'm just going to use mag. Oh, just normal mode. Okay. I'm inclined to leave Nova at B tier. Like, she's still really good. But I don't know about A tier. Chat, I don't know about A tier. Oh, no, sorry, no, A tier. I'd probably leave her on A tier. Like, she's still pretty strong. I just don't know about the Null Star, guys. I just don't know about that Null Star. I also don't like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a fan of the idea that the ability Null Star, the amount of damage reduction that you get is actively getting worse the longer the ability is around as it attacks enemies. As it attacks enemies, you become more vulnerable. That's a strange, to me, that is a strange thing to be fine with in Warframe. I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me, chat. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, chat. All right, Nyx. Mind control is actually pretty good. In the right hands, mind control will be pretty good. She has probably one of the strongest handful of target crowd controls in the game. I use Null Star on mag during Eidolon and Orb hunts. Max duration, max minimum range. Okay. Oh, okay. So you basically have that floating armor shit. Okay. Chaos is fine. I forgot about Chaos. Chaos is fine. Like it still works pretty well, but it's nothing special. She moves too slowly. Absorb is okay, but you do kind of need the augment, otherwise you're just sitting there for no reason. Which really screws with her playability. But that's why I'm hovering between. That's why I'm wildly hovering between S tier and B tier. Because I think it just depends on like, do you like Chaos? If you like Chaos, S tier. If you don't like Chaos, B tier. I don't think she's A tier. She's either better than A or worse than A. There's like a wild jump, and it all rather. I guess it just depends on your opinion on mind control. It's a wild jump. It's a wild jump between B tier and S tier. If you like Chaos, if you like mind control, S tier. If you don't like Chaos or you don't like mind control, B tier. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange. Because if you don't like either of them, then you're gonna hate the other one. Then you probably don't like the other one either. And you can only remove one WarFrame anyway, so. Subsume a dash skill on her. Yeah, that works. That actually does work. But you do need the augment just to make sure that you can actually move. But yeah, that does actually work. You can subsume Lavos' skill on her. That could work. That actually does work. Oberon. Not a lot of people play Oberon, actually. But he is really, really good. He is a super solid WarFrame. He has... I know you do, but you're not a lot of people. He is a super solid WarFrame. What do you mean D tier? He is not D tier in the slightest. This is a dude who has a big heal over time, constantly. His armor strip doesn't seem to be working en masse, but it still works. He has a carpet radiation proc with... he has a carpet radiation proc, plus it has... what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, that's right. Cleansing. He can infuse everyone with radiation damage, which is actually particularly useful in Eidolon hunts, and also Steel Path Ropalolist, because the Eidolons, and I believe also Ropalolist, they're technically robotic enemies with alloy armor, which basically means you double dip. You effectively do a lot more damage, I think. And he has Phoenix Renewal. He has a literal revive mechanic. He's got C6 Barbara. Chat, he's got the C6 Barbara mechanic. This dude is S tier. All of his abilities are super duper useful. Smite, you can make the argument that Smite is not as useful, but still Smite is pretty useful. You can still use it to some extent. But I mainly use it for Smite Infusion. Smite Infusion I think is fantastic. S tier. If not A tier. Some people are saying A tier. I think it's just because I have a much higher opinion of Oberon. I really like him. He's super duper solid. Oh boy, Octavia. Once you use all of your abilities, you kind of just stand there and do jack shit. You kind of just sit there and do jack shit while the game kills itself. Mag tier. It's beyond S tier. She's actually beyond S tier. And to this day, Octavia is just a character where, yeah, you just use all four of your abilities and you just chill. And the game plays itself. You really just kill everyone because they all just too busy killing them damn selves. I've never seen a DPS issue with Octavia. And she can be invisible. And she can buff enemy damage. Ally damage and your damage even. Beyond base Steel Path. I don't know about that one, mate. I don't know about that one on Oberon. But yeah. That's Octavia. Okay, Protea. despite the fact that a lot of people do not like her fourth ability, she's an S tier character. I actually like her fourth ability a lot. I like the idea of being able to just rewind time and basically just go ham. I like the idea of pressing F4 and then just going nuts for a set period of time, and then re-rolling, and not only do I just get to heal up if I actually got hit, or I get all my energy, or most of my energy back if, like, it's cool. It's cool. Now, that being said, I do sometimes play Protea without her fourth ability. I just go ahead and swap to something else. But at the same time, let's not forget that through Protea, we have an ability called Dispensary, the single greatest, probably, ability that you can subsume onto any Warframe, and it works, except for, like, Hildryn, or, I guess, Rage Nidus. But that's because Nidus has no abilities. Sorry, Rage Inaros, rather, because Inaros has no abilities. But yeah. And her guns hit really hard, and her shield fans are really nice too. So yeah, she's a great support character. She's a great DPS character. She kind of can tank, and well, actually, yeah, she can tank, and she has a rewind ability. Very, very good. Okay, next one is Revenant. I barely play this dude. Chat, how do you guys feel about Revenant? All of his abilities are useful though, right? His first ability is basically Thrall, that's basically mind control, that's nice. His second ability is a great way to kill a lot of enemies. 7 enemies, in fact. His second ability is a great way to just kill a lot of really tanky enemies. His third ability is... Oh, that makes him a tank. And his fourth ability... The reason why I like the Soul Beam of Death, the Sun Beam of Death, as opposed to Revenant's Disco Globe, is because, well, it's actually there's a number of reasons. But the main thing is that, like, the Sun Beam of Death also corrosive proc armor strips, and it's primarily heat damage. So it also so I think it also does hit some heat procs. So it could go really well against armor. The thing about Revenant is that his Disco Ball, if it's attacking ferrite armor, then it probably is doing corrosive procs, but if it's dealing against alloy armor, does it not do radiation procs? And radiation damage? I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know about that one. I'm inclined to leave him on A tier, but only because, like, I'm not as familiar with, like, I'm not as good at him as I am with, like, a lot of other Warframes, so that's just a purely me thing. But I think if some people like Kill Up in the YouTube chat is saying S tier, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Let's leave him on A tier. Okay. The next Warframe is Rhino. Rhino has always been super solid, but I don't see any value in his first ability whatsoever. Does anyone even use his first ability, like, ever? I have no problem leaving him in A tier. Buffer, tank, crowd control, cool. Done. But what about his first ability? Ironclad charge, I guess? Oh yeah, I guess, for the augment. Well, that could be a reason. But, like... I don't know, I just don't feel like you necessarily need to do that. Why do you need to recharge your armor when you can just press 2 again? Like, just wait for your armor to disappear. Oh no, my armor's gone. Let me just press 2 again. Oh great, I have a bunch of armor now. I'm good to go. So I'm fine with leaving him in A tier. He's still really good. But I don't know about that Ironclad. I don't know about that charge ability, man. That charge ability just seems... pointless to me. It just seems really pointless to me. Saryn! Ludicrous damage dealer, spreads damage all over the place, can infuse her own weapons with toxin damage, which in turn just spreads damage all over the place, can give everyone viral procs, which in turn spreads damage all over the place, can heal with an augment, not terribly fast, but still fast enough. Yeah, S tier. She just kills everything. Saryn is her own tier, yeah. But she just straight up kills everything. She doesn't really provide a whole lot of supportive abilities, I guess. But we're not really looking at it from that perspective. I'm just looking at her kit and whether or not all of her abilities are useful. And they are. So, yeah, she can kind of just kill everything, which is nice. So definitely S tier. I think that's a very easy S tier right there. Yeah. I think that's an easy S tier, chat. Sevagoth. Chat, how do you guys feel about Sevagoth? I like him. I think he's pretty cool. But I'm not sure if he's S tier. I think he's... I have no issue with him being A. I have no issue with saying he's A tier. That makes sense to me. The fact of the matter is, like, he can... The fact of the matter is he's a really fun WarFrame to play and he can actually kill quite well. I like several goths. AB. Vivian's saying AB IMO. Candyman Grendel saying at least A tier. I'm thinking A tier as well. Like, Gloom is cool as a way to slow enemies, but I think Gloom was overhyped. Like, a lot of people, when Gloom first came out, people were like, oh my god, Gloom is the best thing ever, Gloom is the best thing ever, Gloom is the best thing ever. What is Gloom? It's a massive slow that you can heal off. Okay, cool. Does that make it the best thing ever? I don't think so. I think you could potentially find something else that's a lot more useful than just a giant slow that you can heal off. Magnetize. Need I say more? You can't heal off Magnetize, but Magnetize. That could be a contender for best thing ever. But like, I feel like Gloom was a little bit overhyped, chat. That being said, though, Sevagoth is still really, really strong. I have no issue leaving him at A tier. And he's also really cool to play. It's actually really cool to play. Alright, Titania. They didn't really change a whole lot with Titania this year. That's fine. Gloom heals from ability damage. Yeah. It's a good heal. And his 1-2 combo is just a meme tier. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot his second ability is a bit weird. I always find his second ability a bit strange. Okay. Titania is a character who can cleanse everyone. I forgot about that. She can cleanse everyone. On a duration as well. She can provide herself with a bunch of random buffs that are sort of somewhere between useful to sort of not really that useful, but still useful enough. Her Lantern is actually now an even better crowd control ability than it used to be. I don't know, I can't remember if that was a change this year or if that was a change like last year. As in like this past year or if it was a change the year before. But the idea that the Lantern stays where the bloody hell it is, that's real nice. And of course, as per usual, Razoring Blitz is just super duper strong. And I use her a lot and I really enjoy using her, so that's going to be an S tier for me. In fact, no, I would put her on Mag tier. I actually use her so much because I feel like she's just as good. She's that good. I think she's really, really strong. Of course, she's squishy as all fuck. So if you get shot, you get shot and you die. So, you know, just don't get shot. You're tiny. You should not be getting shot. You're tiny and you're fast. Just don't get hit, forehead. And you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah. Trinity. Probably still to this day the best hero in the game. And she can armor strip. She can provide everyone with a lot of energy in one go. As opposed to Harrow, who can also provide a lot of energy in one go, but you have to kill a bunch of people first. Her heal totem thing is actually quite nice, just to leave somewhere for people to heal off while you go off and sort out some other thing. But like, the only thing is like, how many people would actually use her first ability when her fourth ability exists? That's the only question on my mind. I still use it from time to time when on the handful of times I've actually played Trinity in the past year. I still use her first ability from time to time. But her fourth ability is just way too bloody strong. What do you guys reckon? Is Trinity A tier or S tier or A tier? I get the feeling everyone's going to say S tier because that's probably the way to go. Trinity is just simply that bad. That's just simply that good. No one really needs Trinity. Everyone just revives. That is true. That is true. That's true. But you can use Trinity for Eidolon hunts to revive the, or rather, keep the thingos alive. So that's nice. If only her energy vampire worked on Vomulists. I think. I don't think it works on Vommies. Maybe A from a lack of homicide abilities. She can still do... Well, okay, no, she can do single target DPS through EV. In a very hilarious way, EV can also be a single target damage ability. You're not genociding, you're not nuking the entire room, but you are definitely going to be killing that one dude really, really quickly. I'll leave her... I'm inclined to leave her on S tier. EV M4D nuke. Oh, I don't know if that even works. I've never tried that before. Yeah, and then there's also evading link. Exactly. Stripping armor. Very nice. 3 at a time, but still, that's pretty nice. Okay, Valkyria. Chad, how does everyone feel about Valkyria? I like all of Valkyria's abilities, so I think that Valkyria is contendable for S tier. The question is whether she actually is S tier. I think the augment that she got, the enraged augment, or no, not enraged, the ultimate augment, the new ultimate augment, where her ultimate has a timer, but she gains a ton more crit chance, and just starts red critting right from the get-go. I think that particular augment is super duper nice. And it just makes Valkyria all that more interesting to play. Now, a lot of people say that, oh no, but Valkyria doesn't do a lot of damage. I don't know. In my experience, Valkyria is able to tear shit up. So I think she's pretty good. But is she S tier? That is the question. Valkyria is Wukong 1.0. I don't know. I don't think she's Wukong 1.0 because Wukong 1.0, I think the main problem with Wukong 1.0 was that his stick was kind of all over the place. Not that useful. His stick is also not... Okay, we'll talk about Wukong later. But with Valkyria, I like her. I like her kit. I think her kit is great. But not necessarily S tier. I think she's A tier. I think she's A tier, chat. I think she's A tier. Alrighty. Let's go to Volban. The train man cometh. Chat. To this day, I still don't know how people are using Tesla Novos in a way that is satisfactory. Tesla Bank, rather. Tesla Bank? Yeah. I still don't know how people are using Tesla Bank in a way that is satisfactory. Wait, why isn't Protea S tier? What do you mean? She's right here. Why is it Protea S tier? She's right here, dude. She's right here. Yeah. So I personally don't like Tesla Novos or Tesla Bank at all. So to me, Volban is not S tier. Okay? Volban is not S tier to me. But he is definitely A tier. All of his mines, to me, seem very useful. His 4, like, special mines, they seem very useful to me. The Fletched Orb is really, really powerful. Okay, the Speed Orb is a bit useless, but it's but you can at least use it for, like, fun purposes. The one that shoots out a wire that grabs people, that shoots out another wire that grabs people, that one's real cool. And then there's the Overdrive one, which in general is supposed to be useful. I just don't really use it. But in theory, it's great. On paper, it's supposed to be very useful indeed. I think in the end, I will probably leave him on A tier. Yeah. Yeah, Candyman, I'm with you on this one. I'll probably just leave him on A tier. Orbital Strike is fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. Orbital Strike is fantastic. And obviously you can strip armor and then clump enemies together. So that's an easy clap right there with A tier. Okay. Next one is Vault. I don't use Vault nearly enough to talk, really, but I would probably say that Vault I'd probably say that Vault is like somewhere between A and B tier. Grendel negates the validity of crowd control. Right, but we're not talking about that kind of discussion. We're not having that kind of discussion. So let me see. With Vault, like, I think some people were saying, like, using Vault's first ability, but only in the premise of using the augment to infuse electrical damage onto your weapons is the way to go. I personally don't see much value in it. I still don't really see much value in it with regards to using electric procs. That just feels weird to me. Speed is cool, but it's not something I care about. It only exists to, I guess, get from one side of the map to the other. That's about it. The shield is nice, and it's definitely great for like Eidolon hunts, and you could also use it in regular missions as well to buff your damage. So that could be really, really good. The shock, the ultimate ability is also really, really nice. At that point, you're basically using electric procs in the way that that the electric procs are supposed to work. It says that you mass crowd control everyone, and that crowd control can sort of that causes electricity to bounce around everyone. Plus, with the augment, you basically turn into mag. With capacitors, you get overshields with the ultimate. So that's of course really, really nice. But I'm gonna have to leave him on B tier. His first and second ability don't seem terribly useful. Which, in fact, that actually is a contender for C tier. I'm honestly tempted to put him at C tier, because like I don't really care about his first or second ability at all. They don't really serve a purpose. His third and fourth ability are great. But like he's got two abilities that are dragging his ass down. He's dragging his ass down, mate. He's dragging his ass down. You don't care, but we do. Okay, then he's an A tier on your team. He's an A tier for you. But like, aside from Eidolon hunts, I don't see anyone really making use of. I don't see anyone like actively using the shield in order to buff damage, for example. It's 200% critical damage multiplicative buff, though. Yeah, ESO. Oh yeah, there is ESO. ESO nuking. I don't know. I don't think Vault is an A tier Warframe. I'm gonna be one of the very, very few people who don't think that Vault is that good. I feel like he's a little overrated. He's definitely not S tier. With his first ability, he's definitely not S tier. He can wipe out a lot of... I have seen Vaults wipe out a lot of enemies in ESO, that's true. But it's like... Part of me just doesn't feel like he's A tier. A part of me just does not feel like he's A tier. Alright, the next Warframe is going to be Wisp. I use Wisp so much because she's really, really good. S tier. If not Mag tier. Wisp is either S tier or Mag tier. Probably Mag tier. You just can't die with Vault on your team? How so? How so? Because if Vault is not running... Because under that, you would probably need a Vault with capacitance, right? And if Vault runs out of... Well, if Vault runs out of energy, then you're dead, number one. So, okay, yeah, so it's capacitance, right. Okay. I get that, but still. His first and second ability don't seem terribly useful to me. Infinite Arcane Aegis for a whole team? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Need I say more? She has 3 modes that are basically really, really good for support purposes. I don't particularly like the shock mode myself, but whatever. It's there, and it's still useful. I just don't like it, that's all. Vault can't CC orbs and eidolons. Nobody can CC orbs and eidolons. Nobody can crowd control orbs or eidolons, what do you mean? So yeah. She's got a teleport, which is always very nice. You can pair that with her Breach Surge, so she's the original Fireworks Warframe. And I don't care what anyone says. Soulgate Soul Beam is fantastic. It's a great way to do a lot of damage, and it is a giant beam of death that kills everything in a very violent and flashy way. S tier, beyond S tier, mag tier. Oh boy. Wukong. The most used Warframe of 2021 by a goddamn mile, ladies and gentlemen. Wukong. A guy who has basically got the duality augment right from the get-go. A guy who can heal really, really well, who can be almost invulnerable with Defy. And also they buffed his giant stick. They also buffed his giant stick. I guess that is the reason why he was the most used Warframe of 2021. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Wukong is probably the tankiest Warframe in the game, hands down. And he does have a ludicrously strong self-heal, but not a heal, but self-heal. So yeah, Wukong is definitely up there in the S tier. Probably don't need to say a whole lot more after that, eh? Wukong is AFK fodder. I don't think he's AFK, because to be AFK, you have to be able to heal just by standing there. He doesn't exactly heal by standing there. You do have to move around. Which is not exactly the most, thing you need to do, but there we go. Alright, Ureli. In defense of Ureli, I feel like is more of a tank. Also, Aquablaze Augment, pretty good. Also, Marilena, pretty good. Also, pretty nice crowd control. But is she A tier? Chat, is she A tier? I don't think you... Despite the fact that I tend to be running defense for Ureli all the time because everyone is just talking shit about her on a near constant basis. I don't know if she's A tier. Probably B tier, guys. Probably B tier. Oh, but just Ureli, she sucks! She's Ureli, she sucks! She's supposed to be, she's F tier, says everyone else. A lot of people will yell and scream, Ureli sucks, Ureli sucks, Ureli sucks, Ureli is fucking garbage! Nah, no, she's not. No, she's not. She's a tank who does a lot of damage. If Baruuk is A tier, then Ureli is A tier. Okay. There we go then. There we go then. Because her crowd control is fantastic. Her Aqua Blades are actually really strong. Well, okay, not really strong, but her Aqua Blades are pretty strong. Her Riptide is a bit weird though, that's for sure. Riptide is a bit weird. I'm still not a fan of the idea that it pushes enemies away after you suck it in. 200% crit chance for secondaries, that's nice too. Did I do Zaku? No, I missed Zaku. We're about to do Zaku. Alright. Zaku. I don't like using him. I'm gonna be real, I just don't like using him. I don't know what it is. But I think I'm just really put off by his third ability. Right? Is it his third ability that has the whole switching thing? His second ability is the stealing guns thing, right? Right? His second ability is the whole stealing guns shit. His third ability is the whole different shit, right? I don't like him at all. Every time I use him, I feel like I'm A, not contributing, and B, I'm about to die. And he did get some nice augments, which I still haven't tried yet. He does have some nice augments, right? But, I don't know. Zada's Whisper. Infused void damage. Okay. Except, I personally don't see much value in that. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just don't see much value in that. Grasp of Loki is nice, I do like the stealing guns thing. The Lost. First off, the names are so unintuitive. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. When I choose one of the abilities, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And like when I use two of these abilities, I feel like I didn't really do anything. Okay, maybe not two of them. When I feel like I use Deny, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Vast Untime is cool, I guess. So I guess it helps with not dying. But, I mean, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Void damage is great in Eidolon hunts. How so? You can't use Zata's Whisper to... You can't use Zata's Whisper on your weapon in order to do void damage against the shields, can you? That's not how that works. If that's how that works, then yes, everyone will be bringing Zaku. But that's not how that works. So where does void damage come into Eidolon hunts? You can only use Zata's Whisper to infuse void damage onto your weapons when it comes to like the part where you're just popping off on the dude anyway. When you're just popping off on the Eidolon anyway. But at that point you might as well use radiation damage, and that's why you bring like Oberon and just do Smite Infusion. Because then you can really pop off. But you can't do that with Zata's Whisper, otherwise Eidolon hunts would be ludicrously easy. No, it's more effective than... What? Void damage is... Infusing void damage is more effective than infusing radiation damage? Are you sure about that? Huh. Did they change the health type of a Terrorist? I have a Mad Vectus Riven. Okay. But... Hold up. So you got Robotic and Alloy Armor. This is the reason why I suggest radiation damage, because both Robotic and Alloy Armor take extra damage from radiation. Huh. Okay, I'll have to take your word on that one, because I don't know. I actually don't know. To me, I feel like Zaku has got to be a C tier. But I'm also uncomfortable with calling him a C tier. Because it's not like he's horrendous. It's not like he's horrible, useless dog shit. It's just... Well, neither is Frost, really, but... It's not like he's, like, glaringly bad. But I don't think he's B tier either. I'll probably leave him at C tier. Chad, I'll probably leave him at C tier. And finally, after 2.5 hours, Zephyr. Zephyr is a great Warframe, chat. Zephyr is a great Warframe. What? What do you mean? Zephyr is a great Warframe. And the reason why Zephyr is a great Warframe is because... Hold on, Soup, hold on. Is because tornadoes are a great way to crowd control enemies. But not only that, tornadoes are a great way to buff your weapon damage by a significant factor, to the point where even a single target weapon suddenly becomes an AoE weapon. It's kind of like Magnetize, except it looks more like you're turning a single target weapon into an AoE weapon. So that's really, really nice. Airburst received a change, but I can't remember if it was this past year or before. That basically made it like another like useful ensnare, if you will. So that's really, really good crowd control. It was before? Okay, so it's been like that for more than a year. Awesome. So Airburst is fantastic. The fact of the matter is you get extra, I want to say critical chance when you're in the air with your weapon, right? So when you hover with your first ability, you are actually effectively increasing your damage. And because you're hovering, you are also effectively immune to melee enemies. Because melee enemies that try to swing at you, they can't hit you when you're in the air. And on top of that, you may be thinking, okay, but what if they shoot at you? Well, you have an ability called Turbulence, which basically makes you invulnerable to range damage. So you effectively become an invulnerable tank when you're in the air. Therefore, you have a character who is not exactly tanky, but nigh invulnerable, who can increase her own weapon damage to a level that is insane, and can crowd control enemies a lot. Like, a lot. She's S tier. Zephyr is S tier. Okay? Zephyr is S tier. And if you don't believe that Zephyr is S tier, I highly recommend you give Zephyr a really good try. Zephyr is literally the whole Morgana team. Yeah, exactly. If you don't think that Zephyr is S tier, I strongly recommend you give her a real good try. Actually, take some time and understand her abilities, because she is fantastic now. The way she is right now, there's nothing that needs to be done to Zephyr. She kicks ass and takes names. And then kills them anyway, because Zephyr is a warframe that is really special. Because to me, Zephyr is how you can make the lens super duper useful, even in Steel Pass missions, because you basically turn an AoE weapon into an AoE weapon. Does that make sense? An AoE weapon. And that is real nice. You can basically kill a lot of things really easily with Zephyr. And like a lens, or if you want a Zephyr and like a Paris Prime or shit like that. Like, it's real good. So that's the tier list, everyone. Harrow gets his own tier. Mag gets her own tier, but Equinox, Octavia, Titanium, and Wisp are in that tier as well. We've got a bunch of S tier warframes. We've got even more A tier warframes. We've got a handful of B tier warframes that are probably they just have something about them that kind of pisses me off in a way that I don't like them enough to be A tier. We've got 3 warframes that are just infuriating enough that, like, I don't think they're even worth being B tier. You've got Loki in D tier, and then of course you have Inaros, who is boring as batchin' and needs a rework. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, chat, and anyone who's watching later on. This tier list is 90% correct. Okay. That's surprisingly good. Inaros is too high. You're right. There we go. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. If you like this tier list video, for whatever reason, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more Warframe content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace!